active.
Hi guys, Blake here. Today we're going to be having some fun in NullSec. The idea behind this is it should be quite accessible to new players. It's a relatively small investment and potentially we can make a lot of money from it. So we'll start by taking a quick look at the fit. We're using a standard Vexor. It's going to have 2 medium capacitor control circuits and a nano pump. Now, depending on how this pans out for you, you may want to drop that and just have another capacitor control circuit. The idea is you just want to be totally cap stable. We're going to be doing some ratting and some combat sites and things, so like being cap stable is quite important. Drone link augmenters, a prototype cloak, and a probe launcher. The prototype cloak just gives a little bit of safety if you need to dock up somewhere, if you need to hide somewhere, or you're trying to scan things down, then you can always activate the cloak. The probe launcher is going to be for getting us home. The idea is we're going to escape via a wormhole. Now, this ship primarily is speed tanked, so we've got an oversized afterburner, and again, 3 cap recharges. That's just going to, again, just support our cap, make sure we're cap stable. 3 DDAs, an armor repairer, and an adaptive nanoplate. Now, the problem with this is we're going to be using needle jacks to get into NullSec, so we don't know what we're going to be fighting against. So we don't have the ability to just tailor our resists to that. So this seemed like the best alternative. Drones, I'm going to be taking 2 Ogre 2s, 2 Hammerheads, 2 Hobs. You can fit more of that. You can fit more drones in there in case you lose one, but all we're going to fly at the same time is the 2 Ogres, the 2 Hammerheads, and 1 Hob. Like I've already mentioned, to get us into NullSec, we're going to be using these. There's 2 variants of these. There's a noise and there's a signal. I find this a bit strange, but the noise will take you into NullSec, a random place in NullSec. That's very quiet. Ideally, there'll be no people in there, or there'll be very few. If you use the signal, you go to a more active part of NullSec, which isn't what we want at all. But that's it, guys, for the start. What we'll do now, we'll jump into NullSec. We'll talk a bit more about the fit and what we're going to do, and we'll take it from there. Okay, guys, so we've arrived in NullSec. First thing you want to do is check local. If local's empty, great. If there's a small amount of people in here, you can make a decision about what you want to do. I would personally just go and hide up somewhere and then just fire off another filament and go somewhere else once the timer cools down. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can either go through the asteroid belts ratting, or there's a combat site called Forsaken Rally Point. The good thing about the Forsaken Rally Point is it keeps spawning battleships. It's easily doable in this ship. And it's just constantly drip feeding your battleships. I think, and we'll have a look in a little bit, but I've got a feeling the asteroid belts might be better if you're just looking at ISK per hour. But I'd say maybe the combat site's just lazier. Now, in order to do this, as I said before, we are primarily speed tanked. So you want to get your drones out. You want to get your afterburner on as quick as you can. Not like me. And then you want to get into an orbit. The orbit I use is about 50. Because we're using an oversized afterburner, any less than 50, and you spend more time turning, you don't get to your max speed. Again, this is more a do as I say, not as I do, but I always try and target the smaller things first. Once you reach your max speed, which in my case is about 1200 meters a second, the big stuff just can't track you. The reason we wanted the ship cap stable is because you can just run your afterburner constantly. All you've got to do at this point is manage your drones, keep an eye on them. Now, in my experience, we've had no real drone aggro. But, you know, obviously keep in mind, because it's not like you can just nip 2 Jita or something and replace them, and then just keep staring at local. If something does come on local, I would recommend pulling your drone straight away. Particularly the Ogre 2s take a long time travelling. If you're not sure, just jump away. Obviously, it's not worth losing the ship over a couple of drones. The only problem is because we're in NullSec, once your drones have gone, that's kind of the end of the run, isn't it? You're going to have to get yourself out. So as you can see, they don't take too long to go down. Some of them can be a bit tanky, but on the whole, the Vex is getting through them pretty well. Now on this, it's going to be up to you whether or not you choose to take an MTU. I wish I had, but mainly because I was doing a video, to be honest. Now it'd be handy for, first of all, it just gives you a nice point to orbit round. I don't think the loot's particularly good from these, but you know, some of them drop some sort of high-ish value modules, so it could well be worth it. Obviously, it's going to take up space in your cargo hold, and you don't have a huge amount to begin with, and you're putting another 8 mil or so on the ship. So that's a decision you need to make. In my opinion, I think most of the money is just going to be in the bounties, though. My fit is fully Tech 2. Don't be put off by that. It's never going to need to be Tech 2. I did it purely because, again, I'm recording a video, so I don't want to come in, do it for 10 minutes, find I can't do it. I've then got to jump back through wormhole, start again. So I just wanted to make it as easy as I could. You could probably knock another 7 or 8 mil off the price by moving down from Tech 2 stuff. And I still don't think it'd struggle, really. I think people who aren't used to going into NullSec and exploring NullSec, you know, you hear the horror stories, oh, you need to be in alliance, you need to do this. And to be honest with you, I think that was true right up until the point they brought the needlejacks in. The hardest part of NullSec is getting into NullSec. The gate camps, all the bottlenecks, that kind of thing. The majority of the systems in NullSec just aren't used. As you can see, the amount of time we spend in here in total, I think we see 1, maybe 2 people absolute tops, and I think they're just passing through. There's so much space that they just ignore. Basically, all the lines, they just clump up in a couple of systems, and that seems to be where they stay, which is ideal for us because, to be honest with you, I don't think you'd find too many low-sec systems where you could just be left alone to do this. And obviously, we're using the Vector now, but as you grow in confidence with NullSec, you know, you might start bringing bigger ships in and running the better combat sites, or you know, maybe doing the data and relic sites, seeing what they're like in Null. These are all things we can look at in later videos, but I just think if you're getting bored of running missions in high sec, and I find this in low sec, the rewards are better, but I'm not convinced they're worth the risk. I think you're better off just jumping into NullSec. And to be honest, I just want to shatter that illusion. And I was one of these people for ages, like, well, NullSec's for alliances. I couldn't possibly do anything in NullSec. And now they put the needlejacks in, you really can. I think I'm quite excited. I want to try mining in NullSec. Now, obviously, you've got the problem of getting it back, because you're going to have to try and find a wormhole route. But I'm wondering what happens if you start just mining the highest value ore. And again, that's something else we'll look at in another video. Going back to this combat site, it felt like it dragged on for a while. I don't actually think it was that long, but there's an awful lot of waves, but they all have battleships in them, and again, the rewards are quite good. When we get back into high sec, we'll go through like all the money we made, what we found, and that kind of thing, and then you can decide yourself if it's worth it. A big part of what I was hoping was, even if you don't get the ship back, you can quite easily make the value of the ship and more just in the bounties and things, so anything after that's just a bonus, really, isn't it? Okay guys, well we finally cleared that up. I just want to show you an example of what you can hope to find in the belts now. So this belt we've come up to, we've got 3 battleships and 3 cruisers. Now, the value in these is really, really good. Just that Pith Massacre, I believe it's called, was worth about 1.7 mil in bounties. And once again, we're getting through these quite quickly as well, so you may be better just running through the asteroid belts and farming them. Again, this is just going to be a start point, isn't it? I can really imagine, you know, maybe a Myrmidon or the Ishtar, is it, with the sentry drones, something like that. And again, you're increasing the value, but I reckon you'd fly through those sites. Maybe start picking up some of the hard ones. I think there's an awful lot of money to be made. I like the Vexor because it doesn't take you very long to make the price of the actual ship back. You know, you've probably done it within an hour. So at that point, if you get blown up, it's not that big a deal. You've had some good experience, and you'll probably come on top money-wise either way. The only drawback to the Vexor, the scanning coming back can be a bit slow because it gets no scanning bonuses. It's a little bit of a pain scanning down the sites, but scanning down the wormholes. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big a deal. Now, finally, we do actually see somebody. Again, it's no big deal. We'll just straight away pull our drones back in. Pick it up on D-scan. It's a stiletto, so either way, we're not here to fight other people. We've got no way of keeping them. We'd never kill them. The best we could do is just chase them off. Now, I go to warp. He's obviously just passing through, goes to the next system or wherever he's gone. So we just cancel the warp, throw our drones back out, and we just map the site up. So all that's left to do now is get us home. Now, we're sat here cloaked up. There is somebody else in the system now. But while we're cloaked up, we should be safe. Again, like I mentioned before, it does take a little while to scan things down in the Vexor, but you stick with it, you'll get there. I do pick up scanner probes from him, and I'm wondering, is he looking for a wormhole? Is he looking at the sites? I'm not quite sure what he's doing. My only real concern is that he decides to wait for me at the wormhole or on the other side of it. But ultimately, I have no choice but to go and have a look. So when we get there, it turns out he's not there, which is good. So now all we've got to do is hope he isn't on the other side. It'd be a shame to get this close to getting home and then get popped at the last minute. Now at this point, I can't believe my luck. I have that minute of confusion while there's still people in local, and I realise now this doesn't happen very often, but occasionally a wormhole will connect from one point. How do I explain this? You can go straight from NullSec into HighSec, basically. You don't have to travel through any wormhole space at all. And this just happened to be one of those things, so we dock up, we're all nice and safe, and then we'll have a look at everything we've got. Okay guys, we're back safe and sound. Now, admittedly, we were quite lucky when we found that wormhole. It just threw us straight back into HighSec. Normally you'd have to travel through wormhole space a bit more to find a safe exit point. But, you know, sometimes it can happen. So let's have a look. We've made in total... So about 26, 27 mil in bounties. And then in loot... Just move that out of the way because we brought that with us. Another 4.5 mil. So, you know, it's not mega money, but we've already paid for the ship. That was... The time's a little bit cocked up because I had to take a break midway through it. So I would say probably a little less than an hour to achieve that. So you're going to pay for the ship in an hour. You're getting some good NullSec experience. It certainly doesn't have to stop there. You know, you could maybe upgrade a little bit more and start running some of the higher combat sites. I think the main takeaway from this is how quiet Null can be. You know, in that entire time we were there, we saw one person, that was it. The challenge has always been getting into Null, and the needlejack filament solved that now. So I think probably next time we try this, I'm going to actually try and take a mining ship, and we'll see what we can get some of the really high-end ore once we've actually got a sort of a way back into HighSec to the wormholes. Maybe there's some money to be made going back and forward in there. But yeah, that'll be for next time anyway, guys. So thanks very much for watching. If you liked it, please do like, hit subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one.